Okay. Yeah. How do we start these things? Weight, right? I haven't checked my weight in I don't know how many days. Things have been a little bit of a haze. Um, it looks like the last time I weighed in, which was 2 days ago, I was 187.8. So we're just gonna pretend like that's today's weigh-in and just go with that. Um, there's a number of reasons I haven't stayed caught up on weighing in and checking in and doing everything. It's been a while since I even made a video. Um, I had a little entry here. One of those things is I think I've got the flu or something, and it's been miserable. I skipped some classes, probably missed some important grade stuff today. Um, but you know they're gonna have to deal with it if they're not gonna make provisions for kids getting the flu. Um, they're gonna have to deal with it, or I'm gonna have to deal with it. But I think for now we're all right. But I think after this, um, the 2 days of classes that I've missed, I might have exhausted all my grace there. Um, anyways, so I suppose I haven't updated since the last entry, and I think the last entry was quite a while ago. So things have changed a good bit. I've moved down to WKU. I'm living on campus. This is my dorm behind me, and um, my roommate is not present. I'm actually not sure where he is. It's 3:20 a.m. and he's not here, which is I won't say it's concerning because he told me that he is alive, but I don't really take him for the guy to. I don't really take him for the kind of guy to be, chasing tail at this hour, um, or to, bless his heart, have the capacity for that. um, that's kind of mean. See, this is good. You get to absorb your shadow as you talk through your process, and as you get to hear yourself actually think aloud. You get to recognize how your thoughts sound uh, audibly, and it gives you a better perspective. It's almost like a second perspective. Anyways, so yeah, I've been down here for I guess this is the third week of classes and whatnot. So um, it's been good. Um, I've started wearing these. I like them. They're blue light, but I actually quite like them. So I've kind of incorporated them as part of my style. As of a few days ago, I've started using this Jawzrsize little jaw enhancer thingum. Um, and I noticed that my face does look different after I use this because it's got more of a pump, and you think it's kind of weird, but it feels the exact same way as like you're doing like curls or something. You'll do a set of 15, and you do like 4 sets of that. I can hardly make it through that. Like at that point, I'm going to failure. With that. So that's kind of neat. And you can obviously introduce progressive overload and all these concepts of that would the same, the same in the gym. I've seen other people's progress on their jaws as a result of using it. It's really incredible. Some people have done it too much, and they have too pronounced of a jaw and too long of a jaw, and their muscles here are just ridiculous looking. But that's after like 3 years of pretty much overuse. Um, so, anyways, I'm excited about where this will take me. Um, okay, haven't focused too much on weight loss, although I don't know what our last check-in was and what our last weight on that was, but if I go back to the top of my list here, you can't hardly see that. because it's not going to focus anyways, but I've got a notes app open, and on the first first day of the 8th month, which I guess is August, if I'm a little slow, mind you, was 196.2. And so now, as of 2 days ago anyways, I was 187.8. I had gotten down further than that before. I think the 30th of August, I was 185.1, which is pretty cool. But I really haven't contributed that much effort, especially this week, to the weight loss thing, because, I don't have that damn good of a reason, but being sick, there's that. I haven't got a lot of steps in, and I guess I haven't found a convenient time to start like a fast, or like an intermittent fast, or doing like 80-20 keto. It's been kind of hard finding time to do that. However, I have practiced caloric deficits and things like this, and doing like making sure I get like 16,000 steps in a day and things like that. Not this week though. I've been kind of lazy, but also just a sick dog, as I said. There's that. I got a friend who I am trying to regularly go to the gym with, and who has agreed to be my gym partner, and I've gone once with him, but the next day I found out I was kind of sick, so I didn't go, and that was just this week. So hopefully I can actually get back to that. I've met so many people, had several interactions with girls, and I can't even remember it all. A lot happens in a month in college. A lot. Especially first week, orientation week, events where you're forced to be around other people. There haven't been that many hurt feelings, I don't think. Truth be told, I don't know what I want in life right now. And that's really just right now. I speak for right now because I'm kind of pissed off because I just relapsed on NoFap. And I say relapsed, but for the last, what has it been, 5 days, I've been in a downward spiral. I don't know what my streak was. I think it was 33 or 34 days. And I just got so pissed off about just how low my dopamine was, how fucking miserable I was, how it seemed like God was so distant from me. And then I realized just how arrogant and prideful I was because of my NoFap streak, and because of the fact that I'm like, dude, I'm the only guy here that hasn't busted a nut in a month, which may or may not have been true. But I was using that as a platform to put myself on, to feel better than other people. And I realized very quickly that it's very true what they say, that comparison is the thief of joy. And normally when we hear that, we think that it's about belittling ourselves. We shouldn't belittle ourselves or belittle our progress as compared to others. No. We should not think ourselves better than anyone in any regard, because that is a thief of joy as well. And, less people realize that. And I realize that. The minute you're prideful, the minute you're putting yourself above other people or away from other people in a way of being superior, you're dead inside. At least that's been my experience since I've been here, and all the pride that I've had. I've had ups, I've had downs since I've been here. Right now, I'm really kind of confused and pissed off. Again, I just jacked off, and I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't, because it's like I'm sick. It's 3 a.m. right now. I'm away from my family. Um, there's like 3 girls that are on my Snapchat that I'm like talking to right now. One of them is potentially non-platonic. Actually, two of them, maybe. I don't know. I'm not doing that intentionally, anyways. I'm having a crisis of who I am. I've got. I don't even remember. I can't even keep count of all the things that are going on with me right now. Um, but I have reason for my mind to be scattered. Um, I've spent a lot of time around others. Um, I've spent a lot of time watching YouTube. I spent a lot of time being perhaps social. I've spent a lot of time also criticizing myself, criticizing my morality. And that's also something else I wanted to just rant about, something I just wanted to incoherently vent about. This is not educated discussion. This is ranting, this is venting, this is me trying to throw up. This is mental barf. This is mental barf so that I can get my stomach back in order. Because I've eaten too much food mentally, or there's something that's come in that needs to come out. So I find that I think I am extremely hard on myself on the daily, but also especially in regards to sin and morality. And I'm also, it seems like I have eyes. I have heightened sense for, morality. Not meaning that I'm a moral person, but meaning that I am so much more prone to notice negative trends morally than positive ones, or notice things that are bad in the world than things that are good. And I've noticed this, and the only times, and someone asked me at kind of like church the other day I was at. He asked me. He was sitting down and talking to me. We had a little discussion for like half an hour. He asked me about my walk with God, and he asked me, how often do I talk to Jesus? How often do I take my things to Jesus? How often do I think of the love and the mercy and the grace that God has for us? And it took me a second to think, and I said, only when it pertains to sin. And he said, I think that's your problem, and I think he's got a point there. I don't talk to God. I don't talk to Jesus. I don't even ever even consider the fact that God could be merciful or gracious, except for in the moments when I am actively confessing a sin through prayer, which 90% of the time for me is just after a session of pornography or something like that. And I think that that's made me blind, and really a lot of this journey of celibacy has made me blind. I don't think I've gone about it in the best way, and I think that I could have gone about it in a better way if I had decided that celibacy is important, and that having a pure heart is important, and having being pure, mentally and physically, or whatever, however you want to put it, but having a heart that's pure, and has a pure view of sexuality as created by God. And I made this idea of purity, I made this my God. I made it my God. And I went down this rabbit hole, and I watched all the Thaddeus Mitchell and Sometimes I watched the LFA, but sometimes I couldn't stand him because he would actually consider, hookup culture as being like not a necessary evil. And he would talk about fornication as if it was not a necessary evil, and I would follow all these people, and I watched plenty of Theology of the Body Institute, and what, maybe not enough, honestly. But this journey of purity, I made it my God, and so what happened to God when I made something else my God? Well, I stopped talking to him. It almost seems like he stopped talking to me. And I've become aware of this the last couple of days, and I think I've opened up another line of communication, but I see my need to get into the Word, and I see my need to pray more. I see my need to be thankful. And I say I see my need to be thankful, and that's almost like another criticism of myself. And I don't think thankfulness flows from forcing it. I don't think you can force yourself to be thankful. So obviously that's not that's kind of a circular reasoning type of thing. If you just tell someone to be more thankful, I can't just be more thankful, but I want to be more thankful. I want to be more gracious. I want to be more happy. I want to praise God for every little thing He puts in my life. I want to do that. But I don't know exactly how to get there. And I think finally I'm considering that it could be the possibility that I have factored out the one true answer to the equation, which is Jesus and the Word of God and prayer. Because it's like I've tried to be a moral person, I've tried to be a Christian, I've tried to be God's strongest warrior, but it seems like I've looked everywhere except for those places. I've looked for God everywhere except for in God, because I think I automatically assume He hates me and that I'm not worthy enough, that I'm not ready, that a Christian like me ought to just never even think of committing such a sin as lust or pornography or knowingly have these vices, And here I am, and it's been like, I don't know how many times I've been on this little binge after my great fall of like my, what is it, like a 34-day streak or whatever it was. But I've been on this like little binge of going back to the fucking pornography and shit. And I'm there, and I don't know what the fuck to say about it anymore. I never did. And it's almost like I'm so disgusted with myself that I can't compute. So I just live in denial, And that also caused me to think, you know what? I'm still a Christian. I ought to have more joy about this. Does being a Christian automatically mean that when we encounter sin, that it's worse for us? Or should it mean that we just have more joy? That we have more of a light at the end of the tunnel than the average Joe? So what does it mean about me that my capacity to handle sin is weaker than that of a non-Christian? What does it mean that I think of my sin more gravely than a non-Christian? What does it mean for me that I think that my sin is so much worse and it's so much more detrimental to me than it is to a non-Christian? What is that okay? Does that make any sense for me to be distraught that much? For me to be just torn and just go into self-loathing because of this, and to just be in denial of the fact that I'd even do these things. To be in denial of that. Does that make sense? Because I can tell you right now, if I was non-Christian, it would be a typical Tuesday. I'd be still like, jolly as ever, But because I have this concept that this is literally a mockery of heaven, and that, willful sin is like the unforgivable, and all these ideas. It's a ton of bricks. It's a burden. What kind of Christianity do I have? What kind of faith do I have? What kind of faith do I have that it feels like a ton of bricks? What kind of faith do I have that the knowledge of good and evil feels like a ton of bricks? What kind of faith do I have that seeing the light and thinking about doing what's right is such a burden? Like, I think somewhere deep down I believe that Christians are supposed to be happier people than non-Christians. Somewhere in my heart I believe that. Or at the very least have more joy, be more unstifled in the world, be free. Ultimately, be free. Be free of anxiety, be free of worry. That's not to mean that we don't have a master, okay? I'm not talking about being free of rule. I'm not talking about hedonism. I'm not talking about whatever else. But it's oppressive. It's oppressive to me. My faith is oppressive to me. Me jacking off, me watching porn, it's the mental thing, the moral thing. It's so oppressive to me that it's traumatic. It's traumatic for me to even think about it. It's traumatic for me to even think about the idea that I could watch pornography. And yet here I am. Here I am. I do it. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at as of the last few days. But I have to live in denial about it because I can't accept that I could do something so terrible. And then I realize, is that really so bad? Is it really so bad that I've done this, right? Have we overinflated morality? Or how does this work? Because, like, for a non-Christian, this is a typical Tuesday. Again, it doesn't mean anything to them. So, does this mean I am weaker than a non-Christian? And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It's just... I don't think it should affect me this much. I don't think it should. Because I don't think it's affecting me in a good way. It's not it doesn't seem like it's a healthy conviction. It's more like it's more of a feeling of hopelessness and little self-worth is what I'm dealing with. And I don't get it. I don't get why I'm so hard on myself about this. It's like before I was aware of, and I say aware as if I'm enlightened now, but maybe I've only gotten dumber. But it's like I began a journey of purity. I began all the nofap things. I watched all the content. I watched all the Ice Cold JT, all these things, and thought, oh my gosh, pornography is this just great evil thing, and it's like porn is literally my enemy. Literally, it's literally the worst thing a person can ever do, ever. Porn is literally I don't think that's fucking true. That's where I'm at right now. I don't think that that's fucking true. I think that there's certainly issues with it. But I think that I've inflated this thing to be so much bigger than it is. Not to say that it's not sinful. Not to say that it doesn't corrupt the heart. Not to say that you could perceive it as a mockery of heaven, as a mockery of God, as all these other things, but I've treated it all this time like it's this unforgivable sin. And yeah, you could say that it's a sin. And you'd be right. But so is pride. So now my question is, the pride I was living in for those 34 days of that nofap streak, of thinking, wow, I am a 1% man. Wow, I have sexual discipline. Wow, I'm looking around. I am king of all I survey. Wow, I have that semen retention aura. You know, all this shit. The question becomes, that pride, was that more sinful and detrimental to my faith, to myself, to my soul, to my walk with God, to my communion with others and myself, than a month of porn consumption, than a month of repeated porn consumption? Because I'm beginning to believe that pride is just as bad. That the pride I felt from being celibate, from being pure, may be worse, if not just as bad, as all the lust I was living in. Perhaps you could say I was following black letter law, living like a Pharisee, but I was still empty. I was still dead inside. More dead inside, maybe, than I am now. I almost don't even regret breaking that streak. I almost don't even regret breaking that streak. Because it was a Tower of Babel. It was a church to myself. It was a church to myself and my own kingship. A kingship I was not willing to give up for God or for anyone. At least now, although I'm weak in spirit, I have some humility. So maybe now that even though, as I'm living right now, I'm watching porn, I'm jacking off, it could be that now I have more of a soul than I did on that long streak. Because I'm not committing that sin of pride, which is literally the sin of the devil. It was Lucifer's pride that caused him to rebel against God. It was Lucifer's pride. You could say it's the original sin. The sin before humanity. But I know that there's things about pornography that are not good. And, well, at the very least, I can say that I know that there's things about pornography that are not good from a worldly perspective as far as health and mental health, things like this. But as for what the Bible says about it, as for what God says about it, and I think I separate what God says about things and what's true too much, because all truth is God's truth. And maybe that's something I had to work on as well. I don't know. I'm almost numb to the Bible because it feels like no matter what I do, there's no way I can uphold it. No way I can fulfill it. It was only Jesus who could fulfill it. So what are we to do? I'm lost. I'm lost, and I know I need God. Too often I fear I don't even know who God is anymore. But I know I need Him. You know, I prayed Psalm 51 the other night. And I played my guitar for the Lord. I postured my heart to the Lord. I fell to my knees and I was on the ground. With a contrite heart. And I played my guitar for the Lord, making noise for Him. Not for myself, not for fun, but taking joy in trying to worship Him the way that I know how. And it was really good. I liked it. And I was low in spirit, and I still am. And, despite that prayer of recognizing my wrong and all, comparing myself with David and Bathsheba, here I am again. And, shoot, this might be the second time today that I've gone back to porn. And I don't know exactly where to go now. What exactly to do. I don't know what to say to God. Sometimes I don't know what to say to myself. Maybe I don't have to. But I suppose there's one thing I can be happy about right now is that I'm not prideful, so that's a praise. Can't find me here. Set me on your path. I don't know what righteousness is. I don't know what evil is. I don't know what the law is. All I know is that I need you. God. Make your way into my life. I have nothing to offer you but a broken life, broken spirit. I have nothing to give you. I call upon my bones to praise you, but they will not